Welcome to the Positivity Show. I'm always excited, but I am particularly excited today because this interview is really special for me. I connected with the person I'm about to introduce to you last year in person. I'd heard a lot about her through my network and through my mentors. And it was actually a connection of mine who mentioned this woman's name to me and said, look, with where you're at right now and some things that you're dealing with, I believe it would be a great opportunity for you to connect with this person. My guest today has been a rock-solid foundation in the personal development industry internationally. She is a wonderful support. She is a fountain of wisdom. She creates amazing space for people and holds space for people. She works with high performers and people who have big missions in the world who are touching the lives of many people. And she is a voice of reason behind the scenes. And I'd love to introduce you to her because I know that people who watch this program are also positive difference makers in the world. And at some point you might find it's timely for you to reach out to the one and only, the founder and creator of the clearing site, Jayne Johnson. Hello, Jayne. Welcome to
Hello.
Positivity Show.
Hello. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Jayne, you are graciously taking space today to be with me on the program, and I really appreciate it because you are, if we can jump in, you're on the team there in a really important role at a huge project or a huge program that's happening there in the US. Are you happy to tell us a little bit about what you've been doing this week?
Very happy. Well, for those, I'm working at Blair Singer. He's an international speaker, leader, trainer, and he's been in the business over 30 years himself. And he's old friends for many, many, many years with Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I've known both those gentlemen a long, long time. And so Blair's doing a program called Ultra Personal Development Program this week. And I've been there every day just supporting in the back, just my energy and my intentions to, support everything and everyone, have it go well, which it always does. And it's a joy and a blessing for me to be there. And I'm thrilled to be with you right now.
Oh, thank you so much for making this space. I really do appreciate it. Would you be happy to share, if we jump in the nature of your work, so if someone comes to the clearing site and we'll let them know how to reach out to you, what are people typically coming to you for? What's the process that you are supporting people with? What are some of the outcomes that people are looking for when they reach out to you? How would you describe your work?
I would describe it as anything that's stopping you from being who you really are, or having what you really want, or doing what you really want to do, any of those. And I do it by means of mostly asking questions or sharing information. I'm not literally a coach, where I would give advice or anything like that. It's more like the idea that my premise is that the person has all the wisdom inside of them, and they've been trying sometimes for a long, long time to get it out. How do I get it? How do I access that? And I just facilitate that. So in a way, I try to stay out of the way.
Okay.
And just facilitate by asking questions and being with them very, just in maybe what you might call a neutral fashion. I don't judge what people say. I don't judge their answers. I just want to help them draw out their inner wisdom or just their inner truths, so that they're happy that way because no one's telling them what to think.
It's really interesting. It's such an intangible thing, yet it has such a tangible impact. And I know at the time that I reached out for you, I'm doing a lot of work with other people. And, in my work and in my world, I have two things I talk about: dissolving emotional attachments that limit, and I talk about creating the right learning environment for people to move forward. And in my world, there was a whole bunch of stuff going on for me where I know I needed to be, dissolving some things that were holding me back. And that's where I came to you. But there's this term that you used called clearing, and clearing away in a way for growth. So would you, in very broad terms, describe the space that you create as a clearing, or do you do a process that is a clearing? Could you just share a little bit about that for people perhaps who are newly into this idea?
Yes. Well, I've been doing this 35 years, and you'd think by now I'd be just an expert at describing it. But it's so experiential. Yes, I'll do my best, though.
Sure.
There's kind of a yes to everything you said. The space that I create is safe.
Yeah.
The person can say and be anything, and that takes them a long way in what they're trying to accomplish right there. And then a process then I do many processes with people. It's just a series of questions designed to elicit from them their own truths so that they can operate from their own truth instead of something that's been, I'm going to say, governing them from their subconscious mind. So clearing is the opposite of adding.
Very good. So it's actually removing in a way, isn't it? Removing. And would you say that some of the work touches on, belief systems, and some of the, some, while you're not judging them, they're in a discovery process perhaps of some of the things that they've been believing that may be preventing them from, so there's this two paths to us as I understand it and in my experience. And you've got the limitation part of who we are and the possibility part of who we are. And sometimes people can see the possibility and can see what they're wanting to create, but they're operating, and their thoughts are operating from a place of limitation. So, and that might be there in a way that they're unaware of. So they might come to you in a bit of a state, or that they're in a point of frustration or trauma, and are you helping them spot where they're at and then disassemble it, or do you hold the container and let them do the discovery? It's difficult to describe, but I think we're doing okay.
Yeah, it really is difficult, but I think it's because it's so experiential and so individual. But there are premises, and one of them is that we're clearing away obstacles, not adding anything.
Great.
The premise is that the person knows somewhere inside them, and they've tried to access it, and they can't always do that. So, but my premise is that it's there.
Understood.
So, yeah.
Understood.
So,
okay. So you would have, in a way, you're a trusted advisor, because even though you're not advising, let's say trusted space, because what's happening is those people are coming to you with their stuff, and in order for them to move forward, there does need to be a safe place for them to clear. What kinds of work are people doing, or missions are people on that you've worked with and been able to clear and process? The different types of people that come to you, Jayne, just to understand the range here.
Yes, thank you. Well, I've just been so blessed. My teacher, who's passed on now, but he was close friends with Robert Kiyosaki and Blair Singer and others, Marshall Thurber, many people. And by the blessing of knowing those people, they've been my clients, and they've sent people to me from all over the world. Wow. So it's just amazing. And fortunately, thanks to the internet and what you and I are doing now, for example, I've been able to work with people just everywhere. And so I would have to say, even people sometimes come to me to study, to learn to do what I do.
Okay.
And sometimes they may not have some issue that's really upsetting them, that they just want to grow and evolve, and they connect with me. Not everybody connects with everybody.
Understood.
So I honor that.
Yes.
But those who do find it, they find a connection, and then sometimes there's really nothing troubling them. They just want to evolve or get bigger, play a bigger game. So
Great. So, tell me a little bit about your own personal development journey and where that started for you. Were you just a naturally curious person and you started, or were you in the right place at the right time for the right reasons and met some people? Like, what was the beginning of your own journey in the personal development arena?
Thank you for asking. My own journey started around 1971. I was joking with you that I was 3 years old, but no. No. I was a mother of 2 children and a good person, good, well-meaning person, but unhappy.
Okay.
And, something just fell into my lap, a class, and I went to it. And I spent 12 years studying many other things, looking for answers prior to getting into clearing in 1983. This book I call Clearing. So it's been a journey, and I'm grateful for all of it. It's just that the clearing was so effective that I stayed with that.
Great. So is it a short, when people want to experience this, is it a short process or a long process? Is it something that is time-based? Is it something that you immerse yourself with? For instance, you're talking about this immersive experience that Blair's running at the moment for personal development. What are the different ways that people can access this kind of process?
Well, I try to honor who people are and what they need or want. So I don't make a lot of rules. Mm-hmm. So I had a client who would come here once a year to the golf tournament, and then he would work with me once a year. I've had people who worked with me 5 days a week. So you say, oh, well, what's right? Whatever's right for the person. And I've had people work with me a couple of times and just sail away because they were so happy with the outcome they wanted. Other people, it's like a journey that they love the path, and they're just always on it. And I just respect. It sounds corny, I guess. I don't know. I just try to tell the truth, and that's my truth. Is that different people have different things they like and what works for them, and I just want to honor that and let them. I don't ask people to sign up for, a 3-year program.
Understood.
And if they want to.
Yes, understood. So what I'm really getting with this is that, there is something really missing from the world, and that is everyone's rushing and doing. And what I feel like we're touching on is this beingness and being present. Yep. Because we're running away from, we're in avoidance. And, in my own experience, when you're in avoidance, there's like an accumulation, almost like a beach ball. It just builds up, and then we're just stuffing that beach ball down all the time. And there are certain, pockets in your life that you have different beach balls. And if you're not mindful of those beach balls, when you least expect it, they pop up and hit you in the face. And my experience with you was that, we identified a beach ball, and we my word is dissolve it. We let the air out. And then over a few conversations, we actually, dissolved the stuff that was there and took the emotional charge away. And you by holding the space for me, was able to help me get a different perspective, and then kind of diminish the power or the focus that these topics had at that time. So it's about being, and just even being with you now, there is a real calmness in your presence, and a big spirit. Just being, it's kind of like a reaccess to human spirit. Would you agree with that? That it's about connection with spirit again?
Absolutely. To me, the ultimate purpose of the work is to connect a person with who they really are, and that's that. I don't have any answer for that. Who are they really? That's for them to, like you said, discovery. But yeah, it's about being present, and the doing and having will follow. But yeah.
Great. Were you involved at all in the creation of or the participation of? I know that at some points in the work that I've done in Blair's rooms, the presence exercise.
Oh, yes.
And I'd love to get your commentary on that and what that's about.
Yes. Well, thank you. Well, I was saying to someone the other day, the first time I ever did presence was in 1976. Again, and then I was 6 years old. Okay,
Of course you were.
I'll get off that joke. Okay, no more of the joke. But yeah, that's the truth. And it was quite stunning at the time. I mean, who's running around doing this? So it was a personal development program. And so what I want to say about presence is people have different interpretations of what it is, specifically the exercise itself. So the way I was taught by my teacher starting in '83 was you sit across from another person and you're being there. And when you do that, a lot of things are going to get triggered. I'm going to use your term. Beach balls are flying all over.
Okay, got it.
They are popping up. And that's actually by design. That's what is supposed to happen. And I think some people have the misunderstanding that that's wrong, that's bad. You should be able to just sit there and be very calm. No beach balls, nothing. Just sit there. And that comes later after you've done so much of that exercise. You really do sit there and can do it calmly. But when things first start popping up, it's an opportunity to let it clear. And what is your word? Dissolve.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Great word.
Okay, great. So it will kind of come up. Now, I was talking this morning. I have a couple of groups online. I have Positive Business People group and I have Personal Development online. And I posted that to be interesting, you have to be interested. And to me, that's about presence. And to me, that's about, connecting with the eyes and connecting. And I was sharing a little bit of a story about how, so I have an adopted son. His name's Adam, and he's now 15. And we had this experience when we went to Africa to the orphanage when we collected him. And around that time, we returned a few times. And we would go back to the baby room where he was from, kind of like to give back and to keep him connected with where he came from. And we had a duty with those children. The duty was not to feed them and it wasn't to clothe them. It was actually to pick them up, Jayne, and look them in the eyes.
Yeah.
And what the mammies that were in the room told us is that if the children are not looked into their eyes when they're babies, their spirit shrivels up and they get sick and they die. These abandoned babies. So I had this experience of feeding the being of us as humans with eye contact and seeing one another. And I really believe that your work, you're working with these tremendous people who have big missions and they're on stage a lot, they're giving out their energy, and you're in a way helping them reconnect and re-be with themselves, and you're seeing them and you're seeing their spirit and reminding them of who they are. Does this make sense?
Yes, well, yes, it does. I mean, I'll tell you my premise, again, right or wrong, is what I think is that I believe that as spiritual beings, our natural state is present. The only thing that's going on if we're not present is that something in the subconscious is being triggered, or the beach ball's coming up and pulls our attention to the past, usually. And so as you remove those beach balls and dissolve, you just become more and more present, because that's the native state anyway. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I see it. So.
Yes. And in that opportunity of being present, are you creating from that? Is that the idea, to then be consciously designing what you want to create in the future? Or is it being in allowance?
Well, to me, it's everything, because if it's our native state and we're being present, if what we want to do is create, then we'll do that in an amazing, miraculous way. Mm-hmm. If what we want to do is just connect with another person, we can do that. If we want to look into the eyes of a baby, it's amazing because we're so present. That's how I see it, that it's whatever we want to do, because we're being our true self.
It's that purity and it's clarity And there's a word that has come up. It's a created word that I've been using called connectology. And it seems that the people that are drawn into my world and on this series of the Positivity Show are masterful at connectology, in that they draw people to them and they have great, connection with themselves and with others. And that's certainly, that's absolutely you.
Thank you.
It can bring up a lot for people. And I was wondering if you would be willing to teach on the concept of being perturbed and the beach balls popping up, and the idea of perturbation, because this also is something that I was privy to in my personal development journey when I was in Blair's rooms and in Blair's learning. And I would love if you would be able to share your ideas on perturbation when people are going on a growth journey and a personal development journey.
Yes, well, that is a word I've been hearing since I met those guys, Robert and Blair. And it's a huge subject. They're both fantastic at explaining it. What I would say, my understanding of perturbation is that if you put enough pressure on something, it will kind of disintegrate and then reorganize in a stronger way, just like a muscle. You could compare it to a muscle, and you're working it out so much it hurts, but then it's stronger. That's my understanding of it. I will say, though, just quite honestly, my approach to clearing people is not to be pouring on that kind of pressure.
Understood.
My teacher taught me a gentle, like a little velvet glove, can go a long way. So the kind of perturbation that might come from being present, doing that exercise or any kind of clearing, the rule of thumb is that it wouldn't be so much that it would engulf or overwhelm the person.
Okay. So, absolutely. So in a way, what could be happening is, because they are so busy and they're active and they're anti-present, they're not present, the moment they pause and stop, tears come, or they're agitated or whatever it is, because all these beach balls are popping up, which they haven't ever had the moment to experience just being present. So it's actually a self-imposed perturbation or internal pressure, coming up like a volcano erupting in a way, because for the first time that they've paused long enough to just be present with their own beach balls, for want of a better term, but I think we've got the visual now. And so the perturbation is self-creating, right? It's kind of, yeah. Okay. And the soft approach is unintentionally, and for some people disarming, particularly if I can go into a business setting where you have very male-dominated patriarchal leadership approaches that are very top-down, very pressure-oriented, very tell-oriented, and so people get frozen. They're like waiting to be told what to do. And so sometimes the command and control thing can work. And then however, in the absence of being told what to do, sometimes people are also frozen, or they might be so used to that male energy. The moment that the female energy of beingness and softness and being present and nurturing and neutral is there, it's really super disarming.
Yes, I've encountered that many times. Yeah, there often people come who, I shouldn't say often anymore, but many people come who want to be told what to do, given advice, go do this, go do that, this is what's wrong with you, or, analysis. And then, and I always kind of say to the people, if you want to be kicked and such, that's not me. I'm not weak, and I know what I'm doing. But for the kicking, if you want that, kind of way of growing, and I don't. For some people, that's what they want. That's what they need. I'm good with that. I just say it's just not me. I don't do that.
Understood. It's really interesting, because how I met Blair was through got more closely connected with Blair. Was I went to Thailand and I did the Making the Stage experience, and at the time, Harv was there, and Harv's approach is very, in your face and very kicking. And in that moment in time, it actually resonated with my father's approach, so I could relate to him because it was something that I was used to and I was accustomed to. However, when I got into work with Blair just could sense my anger. And so what was happening, I was in resistance and carrying this anger stuff. And then he was the one who interpreted, I guess, with me if he went the other way. So he went the velvet glove way. And that was when I was standing on stage and I was in an absolute dribbling mess, because here he was, this, really powerful spirit with this incredible guidance on, stagecraft and to optimize who I am, holding this gentle space, which was completely disarming because here I'd been in this other tonality and so on with Harv, which is his way. And then I could sense this depth of spirit and this entunement, I'll call it, where he could just read the dynamics, he could read all the invisible forces, and I thought, wow, this person's got some real depth. And then that was where I heard about you. Thought, okay, so behind the man and behind, and there's always, these invisible support teams. And this is how I arrived at connecting with you. So it's such a blessing, and I wanted to share you because you're like a secret weapon, for one of perhaps a better term, that people do lean on. So if anyone's watching this and feeling that they resonate with this, Jayne, and they wanted to do a process with you, they've got something that's bothering them, it's something that's holding them back, they want to, I keep using this male language, but they want to king hit it and they really like to move through it, how could they go about starting a process or connecting with you? Where would they begin?
Oh, my website would be a good place. There's a form to fill out that I would receive that and get in touch.
Okay.
The website is obviously www.
Yes.
All one word, no spaces. The Clearing, CLEARINGSIGHT site, theclearingsite.com.
Awesome. So they would come on there, maybe tell you a little bit about who they are, and then that would reach out to you, and then you could start a dialogue, or they could look at having a session.
Well, I do a complimentary consultation, and so the form is just a fill out. It would come to me, and one of my core values is to respond quickly.
Okay, great. And to be responsive. Yes, I've experienced that with you, which is awesome. Thank you so much. Which is great.
The best way. And there's video testimonials on there from other people that give an idea of what other people have gotten from it.
Yes. Well, I want to acknowledge you for your responsiveness, because definitely when I reached out, it was a time where you really helped me navigate some relationship challenges that I was having, and helped me reorganize my perspective and my perception of those specific incidences. And I need to and want to and choose to acknowledge Annie Callis, because it was Annie who actually said, look, this seems like a bit of a shock thing that you've been through, and it would be great for you this is a great time to reach out to Jayne. And there had been some deaths in the family, and there'd been some some sudden things happen, and this was the timing. So as a shout out to Annie, and also Linda Gale. So I know that Linda and Annie had both invested significantly in time and effort and energy in being in the world of Blair and working with him, and then yourself, and it's through those stories and their sharing of what they'd observed with you that really encouraged me to reach out to you. So I feel really blessed and honoured and privileged to have this opportunity to chat with you today. And I know that you make a huge positive difference in the lives of so many people. And that's why I wanted to have you on the Positivity Show.
Thank you. It's my great mission. I love it. I'm so blessed. So thank you so much. Thanks for having me, and thanks for for everything.
I would love to reconnect with you offline soon, and feel. I just know that there are certain people listening to this that you will resonate with. So it's a great resource for them to have access to you and your work. So we'll leave it there. Thank you for joining me on the show, and thank you for watching, guys. And really reach out to Jayne. You know, don't hesitate. And if you've got something that's bugging you or bothering you, you might be a high performer. You might be someone who isn't used to asking for help. You want a safe pair of hands to help you navigate some stuff confidentially and privately, then I'd highly recommend that you reach out to Jayne Johnson. Okay, signing off. Bye for now. Tanya signing off from The Positivity Show. Thank you, Jayne. Bye for now.
Thank you.